Yo. Yo. What?
Hey, who'd you talk to? What's going on? It is me. Oh, yes. Mike Lepre, King Mike L. This is Legit Fantasy Football, brought to you by LegitPodcast.com. It is August 7th, 2023. We have played the Hall of Fame game. What does that mean? Well, I'll answer that question really quick. That means football season is upon us. And what do we love more than legit fantasy football? Nothing. Joining me as always, well, not always, but when it comes to football, Mr. Never Left, which is a great name because he never left. M1, what's up, Matt?
Well, I left for a little bit, but I'm back. And I have to say, it was a sad, sad time to be away from my friends.
Yeah,
But
right.
what the best thing is distance makes the heart grow fonder. I'm glad to be back.
Man, I gotta tell you, Matt, like I got bit by the football bug the other day, right?
I
And
thought you
Pat-
got bit by a bear or a shark. The story keeps changing.
Yeah,
Something
what-
happened to your back, and it was
Yeah.
like a tiger attack,
Yeah.
or maybe even a ghost. It was a ghost. I don't know.
Could have been a paranormal tiger. Either way, it don't matter. Right? So I got into it, and they put the pads on at Giants camp, and we got going. And I mean, I know I represent Giants Nation. We feel so good right now because we know what we did last year, what we had, and then we look around what we have, and we're like, oh man, we're like maybe a year or two away from like, oh man. So what I like to do our starting show, because Brother Ray won't join us. He'll be here. He'll be doing the Sunday shows. And that's when you really need Brother Ray, right? To give you that info. You muted yourself. I think. Watch. There you go.
It's too early for Brother Ray. It's too early.
Yeah. He's in his cave waiting. Before we go, before we start, we got a quick question. Russ asked, where do you see Nick Chubb this year? So, Russ, I see Nick Chubb where I see him every year. Top of the running backs, and just don't buy the hype of people that don't like his name or like him in general. There's something about Nick Chubb that gets just overlooked all the time.
Nick Chubb, they got him at Vegas as being the odds-on favorite for leading the NFL in rushing. And I believe him. They got the great old line, like always. Got a lot of weapons on the offensive side. The only thing you have to worry about is with all those weapons at wide receiver. But I still think with that line and the way that they are, they're going to pound that rock.
He gets it done every single year. And every draft, people like go, I don't know about Nick Chubb. And it's like, what don't you know? Like, what do you need to know about Nick Chubb you don't know already? Like, no, I mean, seriously, like, I feel like that about that guy. Like, that guy's one of those guys that's like, yeah, he's going to hit me 1,000 yards and like 10 touchdowns. Of course he is. This is what he is.
King,
All
is he the pound for pound best running back in the league? Because I think so.
I can't say that.
I'm talking individually, not team circumstances. I'm thinking best individual running back.
He might be the champ right now. Like, he would be like the heavyweight champ, in my opinion. Like, Derrick Henry would be up there, guys like that. But Nick Chubb just keeps holding it down. He's that guy that just keeps knocking. He's a Lennox Lewis of running backs. Like, he's just knocking guys out, and people are just like, yeah, well, Nick Chubb. Nah. But he's still doing it. Like, I get it. Like, but then my heart is with Saquon Barkley as the most talented running back. I can't not say his name and say most talented running back because the guy does stuff still. I can't wait till he runs angry this year. Oh, wait till he runs angry, trying to prove himself for a contract, because he'll leave, he'll go wherever. He's going to get a contract. He's going to prove a running back point this year. I really believe he's going to do that.
Do running backs get contracts anymore, King?
You know what? Is that not the weirdest thing, how it went from running backs, get your running backs in fantasy football and in the NFL, pay your running backs, to no one cares about running backs. They're meeting now to have a NFL players union meeting on how to figure out how to make like a compensation level for running backs. Like, what happened? Like, I gotta be honest. what happened to running backs? Like, are they that
It
replaceable?
became once Kurt Warner came in the league. I mean, a lot of people say Peyton Manning, but we can even go back as far back as Dan Marino. Dan Marino really opened it up. And then you had all these quarterbacks really start to wing the ball around to the point where now you have a backup quarterback come in and you expect them to have success because all these high schools, colleges, like you were saying, where's the running backs? The running backs are a dime a dozen now. Back in the day when we were kids, when we were watching it, our teenage years, it was the best running backs were on the best teams, and you knew they had the best chance because it was a first down run, second down run, and if it was close enough on third down, they were running again. And now it's pass on 4th and 1. It's pass in every situation possible, and the running backs are really, really. It's sad because you got some running backs that can do everything, like you said with Saquon Barkley. They deserve it. What you're doing is you're trying to take away inspiration at the position to where these people want to be better. Like now you're making them feel like they're just replaceable. You want to make someone feel lousy, tell them that they're replaceable. And that's basically what they're doing. You've got Jonathan Taylor getting totally worked by Irsay. Horrible.
So here's my thing. So one, here's where I believe it went wrong. I think it was after Marino because Marino proved you couldn't win a Super Bowl by just throwing it.
Without a good run game. Yeah, right? Yeah.
So
different time.
I think it's when everybody else started to take away what running backs did, meaning quarterbacks can now run, all of them. Wide receivers can now catch a quick like a screen and they become running backs. Like Deebo Samuel, these guys, I don't see the difference when they get the ball. I mean, they proved it in Atlanta when they took the wide receiver and just and just put him in the backfield. So and running backs on the flip side have been asked to receive more, right? So they're trying to run offenses that can do everything all at once. The long gone is that what I miss is that team that lines up and just smacks the other team in the mouth for 4 yards. Like, I keep waiting for one team to go back to that. We're going to just run for 4 yards every play. And maybe we'll throw to the tight end. We're going to keep it tight. We're going to win a game by controlling it. Problem is, the other team lines up 4 wide receivers, and they're flinging it down the field, and you got to hope your defense can stop this onslaught because it's become like a video game. So I think the running backs have lost value because now quarterbacks can run and wide receivers can catch short passes and become running backs. So how many running plays are they actually running? You know what I'm saying, Matt?
Well, King, I do agree a lot with what you're saying, but I did hear it broke down like this. Now you got to pay quarterbacks that aren't even worth what they're getting paid, $50 million a year. And to protect that asset, you have to now pay that left tackle number 2, either number 1 or number 2. You got to go QB 1, left tackle 2, vice versa. And then whatever you think you want to build your team 3, but I would probably go with not somebody to catch the ball, but I would probably go with a nice corner or maybe a nice somebody on the D line. But you have to, you got to
check me out.
You got to pick your poison. You got to pick your poison.
You know, I'm a Giants fan from day one. Like, I'm just a Giants fan. Like, and that's just it. Like, it's hard to not think that way. But if I were not a Giants fan and someone told me that Daniel Jones, based on what he's done so far, got paid as much as he did, and that Saquon Barkley did not get paid, and then on top of that, right after they signed Andrew Thomas, the left tackle, to a gigantic extension, and before that, they signed Dexter Lawrence, a defensive tackle, to a gigantic extension. I don't know if I would believe it, but in the way that football's played today and the way that the market is, I think Shane is killing it in New York. Like, as far as the way he's been making moves and like who he's paying, you got to pay Daniel Jones in the sense that you found the quarterback that will fit the system you're going to run. I'm confident that I've been a Jones supporter from day one. I just like the kid. I've always said if the kid was given a shot to do something right, he'd be good. Not great, but
He
good.
won me a fantasy championship last year.
Played on
He
his
won me
back
in my
the first couple of years, dude.
yeah. He's done very well, and he hasn't been getting recognition. He's been making do with nothing. I don't know if there's anybody who's made do with less in the league. And from what I'm hearing down in camp, the offense runs through Darren Waller. And you could do that. We've seen it done when Darren Waller's on point. I had Darren Waller as the number 2 tight end in the league, and then he just got injured, or maybe he just didn't want to play for a real dickbag in Josh McDaniels. So if you can get Darren Waller to take over an offense, it just makes everybody else's job easier. So let's see what happens down there, because I love Darren Waller. Love him.
And the thing is, everyone keeps saying, why do they keep signing like slot type receivers? And that's not it. They're just looking for guys that are fast. Paris Campbell's fast. Like he's had injury history, but he's a burner, right? Darius Slayton ran a 4.3 at his draft, so he's a burner. And then you add Jalen Hyatt, who during a scrimmage was clocked in at running 24 miles per hour, which would beat Tyreek Hill's
the fastest.
Yeah,
he's the fastest in the league.
That's unbelievable to have that much speed. So they're not like when they say slot receivers, I don't know if that exists anymore because they put the best guys sometimes in on the slot. So there's just going to be when you have 4 receivers, 2 of them are slots, in my opinion, right? So you put 2 speedsters, bang, they catch the ball. They
I love slots.
Going, right?
I love slots. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah.
They mix it up. They get real dirty. I like dirty slots.
I was waiting for you to say dirty slots. So let's go through the NFL division by division, and let's give them where we think they're going to end up, because I already have my Super Bowl. I already have my Super Bowl winner. Let us start in the AFC North. Now, in the AFC North, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cleveland Browns, and the Baltimore Ravens. Now, Matt, out of these 4 teams, first of all, where do you have them coming in if you had to rank them, where they would end up 1 to 4? Because I want to see how close we are, then we can discuss the teams themselves. So Bengals, Steelers, Browns, Ravens. Where do they end up?
Well, we really got to see what's going on with that calf, which could be an Achilles with Joe Burrow, because that changes everything. Well, it doesn't change everything. Changes the outlook to one team, and everybody else gets a bump up and they get a bump down. But
all right, I think it's just a calf, though. I honestly think it's just a calf. I don't think it's anything more than that. Like I don't think it behooves them to play down an injury. It's not like he's like going to get hit in the calf again. Like, in other words, I think it's just a calf. I think he does come back. So with that said, I don't see anybody better than the Bengals in the AFC North. Do you?
I love the Bengals. I think they're there for years to come. Jamar Chase, there's people that are talking to take him over Justin Jefferson. You can make the case for it. There's a lot of weapons in Cincy to take away from the volume of Chase, but I still think Burrow and Chase are going to light it up. I got the Bengals number 1.
So
then who's 2? I'll tell you. Pittsburgh's a classy organization. I'm not a big believer in Kenny Pickett, but I'll tell you what, I've been wrong every time I've doubted the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's going to be a tough fight between Cleveland and Pitt for number 2, because I think Cleveland takes the 2 spot. I think Deshaun Watson rebounds beautifully this year. I think they got the best overall team, but I don't know if that means anything compared to the organization that's Pittsburgh. Like, Pittsburgh just wins. I don't know how they get it done, but they do. So I want to put them there as honorable mention for high competition for the 2 spot. But I'm gonna give the Cincy the 1 spot. I'm gonna give Cleveland 2 spot. I'm gonna do 3 Pitt, 4 Baltimore. I just don't believe in Baltimore. I think that Lamar's gonna have to earn that paycheck. It'll be interesting to see what Odell Beckham does with that offense. Rashad Bateman should be coming back. I just don't believe in Lamar getting the ball to the outside numbers. J.K. Dobbins looks healthy. He's a terrific running back. They've always been able to run the ball. Can they play defense? I know Cleveland probably has a better overall team than the Ravens. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go Cincy 1, Cleveland 2, Pitt 3, Baltimore 4.
So the only difference I had was I have Cincy 1, Pittsburgh 2, Cleveland.
I could go with it.
Cleveland 3.
I can dig it.
And Baltimore 4th. And I tell you why I have Baltimore 4th, because every year is a question about Lamar. Can Lamar do this? Can he do that? If we keep questioning can he, then I don't think he can. And
they didn't even want to pay him.
No.
They didn't want to pay him.
No.
He handcuffed the franchise, and the franchise paid him because they would have received huge backlash. The stupidest thing that franchise ever did was give him that contract.
Listen, Rashad Bateman. Oh, what a shame that Odell Beckham Jr. is going there. Like,
I know, because I love Rashad Bateman.
That kid's good. He doesn't need Odell there. That's not going to help him in any way, I don't think.
Well, I still think Rashad's going to be the one. Beckham will be kind of like what he's been in the last few years, because he's not that guy that he once was or showed glimpses of. He's very inconsistent, and I think he's just going to be a role player.
No, but the tree route that he runs. In other words, what I'm saying is, if they play Odell, he has to run certain routes that he's good at. Rashad will be the guy that flips over to run different things. That's my fear, right? If they start a guy like Odell, he's limited now to where he has certain routes. Rashad Bateman can do a little bit more. So whatever. And then they got a tight end who can catch. It's just, I hate it for Rashad Bateman owners. But yeah, the Bengals are the best. Bengals are the best team. I'll let the Steelers, to me, like you just said, I every year want to just rip them apart, but they piece together a team that will compete and will stay in the top right about till the end, you know? And Kenny Pickett.
They might have the best defense in the division, too. And they're sound. Their defense keeps them in every single game.
So they got Najee Harris, right? I mean, what do you want for running back, right? That's fantastic. If Kenny Littlehands can just manage the game, because that's a big knock on Kenny Pickett, is that his hands are too small. You know that, right? That he can't really palm a football. Like
you just touched on Najee Harris. Watch out for Jaylen Warren. Big time backup. Big time backup. They didn't do anything to add depth behind Warren, and that's because they believe in Warren. Hot, tough-nosed runner. He's always done the most when he's got his chances. And if Najee Harris gets banged up, he's the back to home.
Well, you'd want to handcuff
those championships.
Yeah, you'd want to handcuff those two, I would think. If you're going to draft Najee Harris, there's certain running backs. If you're going to draft a backup. Certain guys have certain backups. You know, I mean, guaranteed backups. Some are committed.
Eli Mitchell. They're saying Eli Mitchell. I don't want to get too far off topic, but they're saying Eli Mitchell is all of a sudden not the guy. They're talking about Jordan Mason being the backup behind Christian McCaffrey over there in the 49ers. It changes just like that.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, through camp it does. Like the Giants signed James Robinson, and he's not even making the team. Yeah, he's not making the team.
Really?
He can't.
So he looked like shit, huh?
He can't even run. The kid they drafted, I'm gonna blank on his name. It's like Hart or something. And what's his name? The backup we had last year from the 49ers. They're both just much better running backs than him. So the Giants are like, they're gonna just cut him. All right, so in the AFC North, that's where I sit. That's my agreement on that.
I love it. I would go. I could dig it. I could totally see Pittsburgh being number 2. Like I said, yep.
And what does Deshaun Watson do this year? We don't know. I mean, he looked good the last game or two, but you know, and he's had an off season. But in other words, how serious is Deshaun Watson about his legacy? You know what I mean?
Dude, I thought this last year, and I expected him to be rusty. I didn't expect anything from him after not playing almost 2 years, I think it was, because he sat for the Texans. But what I think, right, it's almost like he's naked. it's almost like he's stripped down. Like these guys have huge egos. We've all met celebrities that have these egos that you couldn't cut with a knife, and they wear it like a coat. And Deshaun Watson was one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league. He was great, big winner. But now he is been popped like a pimple. Can he recover? Can he stand up with his chest out? Does he have voices in his head talking to him about being judged? Because we all know how it feels. But when you have the world and the pressure, can he respond? He's got the contract.
Does he want
He's got paid. Does he even? Does he feel Does he feel comfortable? Does he want it? Does he want it? That's right. You gotta have that Jordan burning sensation of wanting to be the best, continue to be the best. But as soon as you get embarrassed, do you want to take the floor anymore and want to be the best? Can you be the best when, like I said, he's almost naked on the court? I think.
Is everybody can shine when they're doing well. Is when you when you're ripped down, and he didn't respond very well. So this season, is he the baller from Houston that can do a bunch of different things, or does he regress because maybe he doesn't want it as bad? You know what I mean? Because
Let's take it back a few years ago, 3-4 years ago. We kept on banging the Cleveland drum. We were saying they were the AFC representative. We were saying they were going to compete with Buffalo and KC. Remember that?
Yes.
And they just needed a QB, and they got it. And of course, like I said, he didn't have his cape last year. He had to bounce back and everything. No hiding this year. We'll see.
All right, AFC South, Matt. The Jaguars. You got the Texans, Colts, and the Titans.
I was so high on the Jaguars two years ago when Trevor was a rookie. And boy, oh boy, it was like his rookie year last year. He finally got an offensive coach. This is their division. And the Colts might be the worst team in football with the Raiders and the Cardinals. And I think the Colts are going to be very bad. I think that when you shoot down the best, Jonathan Taylor was the identity of that team. You got a rookie QB in there. You got to help him every chance you get. And you're going to tell him, you're going to put him on the NFT list to not even pay him. You're threatening him. Listen, I don't know about you, King, but when someone threatens me, I'm like a woman scorned. I never mind. Do I want to work for you? I want to do the opposite. I want to match your ego with my ego. And Lord knows, I have an ego the size of the planet. Never mind Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor was the best running back in football 2 years ago. He was looking to have a great year last year. Now you got to come in and you're going to smack the leader of your team in front of the organization. Tell me one player that wants to play for Jim Irsay. I think he's been a horrible owner. And aside from Dan Snyder, I don't know anybody who's worse than Jim Irsay. And Dan Snyder's gone. Jim, maybe is that why you gotta come in, take the crown, kick in the door? Is that what he's doing?
Jim Irsay is on Jerry Jones level. Like, he needs to stay off Twitter, stay out of the team, leave him alone. Just leave him alone, Jim. Let him play. Like, stop it. Stop with your coaches. Stop with all these weird things you're doing as of late. All right. So you got Jaguars 1, obviously Colts 4. What do you got for 2 and 3 though? Titans, Texans, Titans. How you got?
It's gotta be. Ooh. It doesn't have to be Titans. You know, we could see CJ Stroud actually show out. Texans were really formidable last year. Gave hell to a lot of good teams. Titans were kind of downward. Let me give Texans number 2, Titans 3, because, you know, I'm not a believer in D-Hop. They're going to give Tannehill another shot, which I like, but I just don't think that. I think King Henry's going to be kind of slowing down, and I don't really like the Titans that much.
So we have 1 through 4 again, but we differ on 2 and 3. I got Jaguars.
You got
1,
Titans.
Titans 2, Texans 3, Colts 4. Now the Texans played over their heads, and every time they were a long shot, I played them because they covered. They would stay in every game. But the Titans still have Derrick Henry. They still have that. They still have that team that's good enough to beat the Texans. I guess it's just a divisional thing with me in this. Like the Titans are good enough to beat the Texans and the Colts. Like I would take them if you just said flat money. They're going to play a game. Who do you like? So I go Jaguars, Titans, Texans, Colts. When Jonathan Taylor wants to leave and you say that he's got an injured shoulder or something like that, and then he says, I never injured my shoulder, the NFL should look into that right away.
Yeah.
Right away. The minute they mark somebody as injured for a reason and he's not injured for that reason, let me know what's going on. Because like if he says that I'm not injured and they're putting him on an injured list, like, you know, that's a little too wide open. So the Jaguars, to me, have Etienne. And that kid, they said in camp, receiving-wise, has looked phenomenally better. Like, he's a huge threat in Jacksonville. And they always seem to have receivers hang around for a couple years and then leave Jacksonville. Like, there's always the good receivers there, and then they're not good. So hopefully Trevor reverses that, and he starts to spread it. And obviously, Evan couldn't catch a pass if his life was on the line for the Giants. Ingram seems to be doing pretty good there in Jacksonville. So we'll see what happens. Like I like the Jaguars.
Hear what you just said?
Yeah.
It's the NFL is becoming kind of like the NBA. These players want to play in the warm climate. Think about the players that are going to want to go down to Jacksonville and play with that kid. He's got Calvin Ridley down there. He's going to have a successful year. Christian Kirk's still there. But just like you just said, there's going to be wideouts that go, I'll go play with him. He's in Jacksonville. Tax-free state. Beautiful. Oh, please.
That's my point. That's my – and so, all right.
Huge.
We got it like that. Let's go to the AFC West. I'll name the teams here. The Broncos, the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Chiefs.
Broncos, we got Chiefs number one. Barring any injury, Chiefs are number one, hands down.
Yep. Probably
showing for the Super Bowl again. Then you got Chargers, and then you got the Broncos there, and then the Raiders, probably one of the worst teams in the league.
All right.
But I expect the Broncos to bounce back kind of in a big way this year. I think they could challenge. Yeah.
I have.
Yeah, you got Sean Payton down there. Javonte Williams is definitely going to bounce back to saying he's looking good, but they also picked up another running back. I forget who it was that can kind of spell Javonte if they have to.
But who is their quarterback in Denver?
I've never been that big a believer in Russell Wilson. But if anybody could get the best of him, I gotta believe it's Sean Payton. But
if you don't have an arm anymore as a quarterback, which
I don't think he's got a good deep ball, but he's never been good short. He's never been good short.
I have it as the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Broncos. I see the Raiders and Broncos as two horrible teams. And the Raiders have enough talent with what they have, right? And plus, they're just that type of team that's going to win a bunch of games they shouldn't win, and they're going to make games ugly. And because you don't even know who their starting lineup is going to be right now, right? Josh Jacobs, you don't know what he's going to do. There's so much stuff going on. You don't know what's going on, right? But like come game time, if all those guys play, or if they get a team in there, I think they're good enough to beat the Broncos. Man, Russell Wilson.
Bad.
Wow, was that bad last year?
Isn't he garbage?
That was a bad
hot trash
campaign. Like that was a guy that should have not came back so early, is what that was. That's what that was. He came back from an injury too early, right? He
ended up playing pretty decent ball down the stretch, but I think he thought he was going to be the savior and they got off, and he got royally slapped hot. Let's not forget, he probably had the worst coach in the history of the NFL. That was a bad coach. Oh,
but
bad coaching job last year.
But Geno Smith stepped into his spot and
Killed
balled.
it.
Come on, if that doesn't hurt your reputation, like
I love
Geno. So wait a minute, if Geno Smith replaced you tomorrow at work and did a better job than you did, that's an insult. You'd be like, what do you mean Geno Smith was better than me? How is Geno Smith better than anybody at anything? He's Geno Smith.
If you get replaced at your job and they do a better job than you, that's a bad sign anywhere. But Geno Smith, who's been sitting, that's like we just talked about Deshaun Watson sitting. Geno Smith wasn't getting snaps in practice. He get to play a little bit in the preseason. That's it. Do you know what I mean? And you're a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and you basically get ousted because you're just a prima donna. Your best friends on the team had to call somebody and leave a message to be like, yo, King Mike, can King Michael call me? Yo, tell King to call me.
I heard about all the rush stuff he asked for. It was ridiculous. Like, it was like, what? All right, so we're in agreement somewhat on the West. Again, just the two and three we differ. Here's where we're gonna probably get off the AFC East to round out the AFC. Now, I'm gonna go first on this one. Then I'll explain myself because a lot of people aren't gonna believe me, but it might be true. I have the Jets in first place. I have the Dolphins in second place. I have the Bills in third, and I have the New England Patriots in last. And here's why. I think the Jets. Now, I always call back to the douchebag factor when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. You know this. Aaron Rodgers is a douchebag. Great player, not denying that. I probably would like him as a person, but in general, he's like that friend is a douchebag. So when he goes into douchebag mode, he's tough to beat. And that Jets team is like, it's just adding parts. Like there's like running backs that are in town that are like just like number ones that want to play, and the receiving call looks crazy, and the defense is brutal. The line is good for Rodgers, right? And then the Dolphins. I'd put the Dolphins at 1 if I was guaranteed to have played the whole season. But the way that they handle him and the way that the coverage in the media and the news handle him, they made him an example. They kept zero. He'd come off the field and the camera would be following his head.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. So it's like Miami's in a bad spot with him. Like they can't afford him to get one and then ignore it for any reason, because then what? So that's why I got Miami 2. The Bills 3. People are screaming, why the Bills 3? That'll never happen. Yeah, but it does. The AFC East is difficult right now, and the Bills have done the same sort of thing for the last couple of years. They're not changing. They're not new. They're not upcoming. So, you know this. There's more film on them, therefore. You know what they're going to bring more than you know what the other. You don't know what the Dolphins and Jets are coming out with offensively, right? But comparing this to boxing, you have no idea. The Bills, you have a decent idea. And those defenses have been built to stop the Bills' offense. Like, they may not, but don't think that the Dolphins and Jets, when they're putting their defense on the field, their main idea is, if we can stop the Bills, we're golden.
That's
right? 2 games a year, win a division. So, I'm not saying I even have the Bills making the playoffs. We'll go over that later. But I have it Jets, Dolphins, Bills. Like, I think those 3 teams ascend and they skip over the Bills. And then the Patriots, dude, I got to tell you, they made Joe Judge assistant head coach. It's being run by like my uncles. That's what it's being run by right now. It's just like, hey, you come on, you can coach. We'll make you assistant to whatever. Put him in there. Let's go. Let's run this. I'm so good at this, Mikey. I've been coaching football for so long. Just put him in. Like, I don't think it's going to work this year. But go ahead, you, AFC East.
King, you know that I jumped ship on the Patriots, and that's so unheard of in the NFL landscape of things, right? But I just am a truther. I cannot stand by Bill Belichick when he's so arrogant.
Yeah, he's
Like
gotten
this
bad.
guy really truly believes he made Tom Brady and he was the reason for the success. And now Tom's gone and he's like 500. He can't coach up a QB. He doesn't have one. It's one of the worst teams in the NFL, and he still thinks he can do it with band-aids and like let's go botch this job up and we can band-aid it up and we can move on. He's the worst. It's worse because he doesn't know it. Like he's talking about being naked and clothes off. He's the emperor with no clothes on and nobody he doesn't know it, but everyone else does. I can have Miami number one, and I could see that definitely happening because they just got so much firepower. Speaking about, we were talking about knowing about running the ball, knowing when a team's going to run the ball and getting that yard. That was the thing that killed Miami last year. They didn't have a running back that could get the ball in a tough yardage situation. They didn't address that. I hope Dalvin Cook signs there, but I love the rookie that they signed, Anichi. But he's still small. He's small. I don't think he gets that tough yardage either. So they do need somebody, but I think that kid Anichi is going to be really nasty at the backfield with his hands and just bringing energy and a burst that team needed out of the running back position. Then the Jets. I have the Jets third. I'll have the Bills number two. I do agree with you. When it comes to the Buffalo Bills and what they have offensively, they got this new kid, Kincaid. You got Gabe Davis, who really hasn't showed consistency. And then you got Stephon Diggs, who is really, really pissed off at Josh Allen. And he should be.
He doesn't want to be there.
He doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to be there. And that's a big-time leader. And you got Josh Allen just continuously leading the league in interceptions. And that cannot happen. So everyone can be all happy about what Josh Allen looks like when he's doing good, but interceptions do not win games, and you have to keep up with this Dolphins team. And they beat you one good time last year, and they could have beat you again. They're going to probably beat them twice this year. Then you got Aaron Rodgers in there with the Jets.
The
Jets are unbelievable.
With a chip. Yeah, Rodgers wants to beat the Bills so badly. He wants to beat the Bills so badly to prove a point. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like they got targets on them in the AFC East.
Oh, big time. I could see I thought the Bills were going to falter last year. I could still see them faltering finally this year. I'm suspect about the Jets. I do think that they have a great defense, great offense. I think that the recipe is there for success. We'll see. I definitely expect them to do very well. So
it's going to be so. I mean, it's going to be a Patriots in the basement division. I think we agree upon.
Hold on, before we leave the AFC East, I expect Bailey Zappi starting by week 6.
That's unfortunate. That's man. Imagine those are the two quarterbacks that you got to like argue over who should start. Like, I like Mac Jones if they can keep him in the same system for a year and block for him. But if you can't do that for Mac Jones, he's not getting away from anybody. And Zappi was just more of a gamer. I still like Mac Jones. I just don't think. He's going to be one of those quarterbacks that were good and could have been good in the right system, but I don't know if they kept the patience in him. You know what I mean? And the stuff towards the end of the year that he didn't like, no one liked him for it. So he didn't even do his rep any good. But I mean, look, we live in New England and the Patriots are closest to us. And I got to be honest, they don't seem good to me. They talk about their running back being so good and all this stuff. And I'm just going, those other three teams are better. I like the Jets, Bills, and Dolphins better than the Patriots. Like, I don't. And the thing is, if the Jets play like I think they will, and they end up being the surprise number 1, the Dolphins will be right there. And then the Bills are better than I just see it Jets, Dolphins, Bills, Patriots. I got all three making the playoffs when all said and done. And I just think the Patriots are on the wrong track, and I don't know what happens next.
Can't-
Belichick is untouchable, dude. He's been fined 2
He's
first
untouchable.
round picks for cheating.
Yeah,
He don't care.
I know. He's sitting down Ramondre Stevenson, and they asked Ramondre, "Why are you not practicing?" He says, "You're gonna have to ask Belichick that." I've been watching Belichick. I've been a Patriots fan my whole life. I can't recall a time that I've ever seen a Patriot sitting, and that's because he's the only superstar they have on offense. That's it. He's a hard-nosed runner. He's just an average, really hard-nosed runner. He fumbled on the goal line. He doesn't fumble all the time. He doesn't have a fumble problem, but you got to know to clutch that ball on the
You don't
goal
fumble
line.
on the goal line. Yeah, you don't
No
fumble
fumble.
on the goal line. No, you don't. That's the one
No
place you
fumble.
don't fumble. No, if anything, you're holding it with 2 hands to the point where it takes away from how fast you can run. But that's okay because it's on the goal line, and the main goal is to just don't fumble the ball on the goal line. All right, let's jump over to the NFC because then we can make way to the playoffs. Up in the NFC North, where they have the Vikings, Lions, Bears, and Packers. Vikings, Lions, Bears, and Packers.
It's the Lions.
Yeah, I have the Lions at 1-2. Yeah, I just think they're too talented. They're gutting. If you watch what they did in the offseason, or here's the problem with the Lions, maybe coaching. Like, I'll still stick with that. I'm not gonna buy into that experiment, but the team and with Dalvin Cook now out of Minnesota and Rodgers out of Green Bay and the Bears trying the whole Justin Fields experiment. So I have the Lions at number 1. I think we can agree with that. What do you go 2, 3, 4?
I'll tell you, I wonder about Jordan Love and the Packers because I really like the way Matt LaFleur runs the ball. I love A.J. Dillon. Aaron Jones is still Aaron Jones. You got to go Vikings too, though. Kirk Cousins is a winner. He's proven it year in, year out. They've got a lot of firepower, even with Madison back there. But I don't think Madison's going to be the back. It's going to be this kid that they got in the 3rd round, and he's what's his name? Oh,
I don't know because nobody cares about running backs anymore. I don't bother to memorize their names moving forward because no one cares.
Madison might be the back to stop, but look for the backup there that was just recently drafted. And then I got Packers 3. Packers could fight the Vikings for 2. I just don't really know what to think about Jordan Love. I do think Jordan Love is going to be nice, but the Vikings is still the Vikings. And then you got the Bears at 4. But I like what the Bears are doing. They gave him DJ Moore. They gave Fields DJ Moore. And they're saying that they're jiving. They've been connecting on and off the field, constantly with each other, in each other's heads. And they on the field, it shows. So Justin hasn't been able to throw it down.
But here's where I differ from you. I agree with the Lions at 1. I agree with the Vikings at 2. I have the Bears at 3 just because of the reasons you just said. They're a younger team. They have a ton of talent all of a sudden. I just think the Packers are a team that going to try really hard to replace Aaron Rodgers, and that's not fair for Jordan Love so fast. So I have the Lions, Vikings, overachieving Bears 3rd, Packers in 4th.
That'd be doubt. If the Bears would do that, that would be a damn successful season for them. That would be good. And I would like that because I think Justin Fields is awesome.
Yeah, and he's got some wide receivers around him and stuff. That could happen, but it's still an overall team. I don't know if they can't compete with the Lions talent-wise, none of those teams. But then the Vikings, like you said, are that they're just always there. They're just always there. No matter what they won the most close games last season by any team was stupid. Their point differential. It's they barely won games. How do you win negatively? But so, and I like the Packers. I just think the Packers are in disarray. Let's use that term. All right. NFC South. This is a tough one because to me it is. The Panthers, Buccaneers, Saints, and Falcons.
So tough.
I can tell you what I went with because you might have completely different because I just had to break it down the only way I could make it explainable to myself. I have the Falcons coming in first because I think they have
Too.
talent-wise what they could do. I have the Panthers in second because again of talent. The Bucks in third, and I don't like the Saints. I have them in last. Like I guess maybe they should be higher, but I don't like the Saints this year. Something about the Saints I don't like. I like Falcons, Panthers, Bucks, Saints. What do you like in the NFC South?
I could go. I got Atlanta number one. I could go with.
Who's two?
I like the way the Panthers played last year. I could go with the Panthers number two because they were playing hard for their coach, and they were playing in games so close, so hard. They were winning games at the end there. I could definitely see that number two. Number three, number four is what I was pondering. I probably would go with the Saints at 3, Bucks 4, only because I don't believe in Baker. Baker's a very bad quarterback. He had some good spots. Off. He's just off.
I hate him. Dude, come on, man. For 4 years. How many years has he been in the league? The minute he came in the league, he made a comment about the Giants organization. I told you that. And I'm like, from that point on, it was like, screw Baker Mayfield. I think I said it publicly a couple times. I hope his career go down in flames. And you know what happened?
And it is.
His career went down in flames because he insulted the New York Football Giants. Like, you're Baker Mayfield. Shut up. Like your commercials are horrendous. The fact that you pretend to live in the Brown Stadium was depressing.
He's Johnny Manziel too, and that's the perfect name for him because he absolutely is.
So, all right. So, Falcons, and then you like Saints. So the difference you have is the Saints with the Bucks. I think they both. They both. I don't like both teams. Like this is a bad division, in my opinion. Right?
It's a bad division, but you know what it is? It's great for fantasy because they're such bad teams, and there's a lot of money to be made right on that on those players there, especially on that Atlanta team. I think.
Yeah, there is. Their running back. It's a beast. The rookie.
That's.
All right. NFC West. You got and I know we're going to differ here. Cardinals, Rams, Seahawks, 49ers.
I got the Hawks number one because we don't know what's going to happen with the 49ers out the gate.
All right.
They're saying that Brock Purdy's probably going to miss week 1 or whatever, but that's probably week 4. They ain't going to rush him back. And you have to kind of match the Seattle Seahawks because they're going to come out hard and they're a good team. They're going to win the division. 49ers number 2. And then you got Rams 3, Cardinals 4. Cardinals are going to be one of the worst teams, maybe the worst team in the NFL.
All right. So this is – I have the 49ers first. I have the Seahawks second.
But do you know what I'm saying, though? Why I have the Seahawks and why I think the –
I don't have the Seahawks second. This is going to get worse. I have the 49ers first. I have the Rams second. I have the Cardinals third. And I have the Seahawks in last place. Let me tell you why. Right? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why right now. Who's their quarterback?
Geno Smith.
And who finally put a year of tape down for defenses? Geno.
Yeah, but they just drafted
Smith. Look, I know Geno. We all know Geno Smith. This is a horrible division, in my opinion. It's an overrated division. Cardinals won't be very good. Rams won't be very good. 49ers might stumble. I mean, the quarterback they're waiting for is Brock Purdy.
I'm still not sold.
No, who is? That whole division. Who is sold on that whole division? I can tell you why they all could fall apart immediately. So I'm
not sold on Brock Purdy. I've seen quarterbacks go in that system and look good before. Jimmy Garoppolo's looked good for stretches in that system. You know? It's like you're going to tell me this kid is all of a sudden the guy. I mean, ugh.
No, he's not. And again, so I got 49ers, Rams, Cardinals, Seahawks. Like, that's different than yours from 2 to 4. But in that division, I would not be shocked how it fell because I don't really like. Again, that's a division I think that's very weak. Very weak. Now, the NFC East. The Eagles, Giants, Cowboys, and whatever they're calling themselves right now. I will tell you my NFC East standing. I am the NFC East whisperer. I'm usually at least 70% to 80 when it comes to picking NFC East games. That's actually not a lie. That's true. I have it as the Eagles in first, the Giants in second, the Cowboys in third, and then whatever they're calling themselves right now would be in fourth place. That's exactly how I have it. And I'll tell you why. The Eagles and the Lions have some of the most talented lineups you've ever seen on a football field, period, right? The G-Men are a better team. Speed, defense, line, everything. They're going to be a better team. The Cowboys, still not sold on Dak. I'm not sold on that offense. Like, who's in it? What? I don't. So, and the Cowboys screw things up all the time. That's what they do. Ever since the 90s, that's what they do. It's what Romo, it's the age of Romo. And then the, whatever they're calling themselves now, team, the commies, I don't care. I don't even care. They're just so bad that I don't even care about them. They're fourth place. So how do you have the NFC East?
Wait a minute. What was your 1 and 4 to 4?
Eagles, Giants, Cowboys, and then whatever they're calling themselves now.
Yeah, I could go with that. What did I say a few years back before Jalen Hurts ever played? I said he's the comparison to Pat Mahomes. And that was the worst thing that I ever said because it came true. And now he's in your division. And you have to deal with him.
I'm not worried about him as much as I am worried about what they have around him. Like, I'm still not sold on Jalen Hurts. 100% not sold on him to win all the big games. Just not. But
they got a great team.
Oh my God.
This is a great Eagles team.
From 1 to 53, it's like, who are you going to cut? Like, who would you cut? Like, it's just ridiculous. But the thing is, the Giants are like, we can be the Eagles because we're the Giants, they're the Eagles. Like, that just happens. Those interconference games happen.
It doesn't matter.
Yep. So the Giants got better, in my opinion. Like, in other words, they improved much more than the Cowboys improved. And last year, the Giants made the playoffs. So I still have the Cowboys making the playoffs if I go break down my playoff breakdown. But I have the Giants. I have the Eagles, Giants, Cowboys, and then whatever they call them.
It's just crazy because what you hear coming out of the Cowboys camp, it's like the same as every year. You'd think that they won the Super Bowl last year. And they're talking like they're going to be undefeated and they're awesome and this and that. Oh, they're talking about Stephon Gilmore as a top 10 corner. I'm like, really? When was that? How? Yeah. I'm like, dude, okay. You got and even you got what's the kid's name? Trevon Diggs? Trevon Diggs?
Yeah, Trevon Diggs.
Trevon. He thinks he's unbelievable too. He thinks he's like the top corner in the game, and he's not. So I mean, like, I like Micah Parsons. I like a little bit of what they've done in this and that, but
Micah Parsons.
He doesn't even want to be there.
No, man.
Why?
I will guarantee you this: he does not sign his next contract with Dallas. Micah Parsons wants out of Dallas. You watch. Like, he will not re-sign with them. They're not going to pay him. He's one of the best players on the field,
in the league.
But if I can, and I will say this, I've been saying this so now since he got drafted. So Kayvon Thibodeau got drafted for the Giants last year, and I'm going to stick with my claim that the best pass rusher on the New York Giants is Azeez Ojulari.
He's badass.
He is so fast. I mean, he was in such limited games, but if he had 5.5 sacks last year, he barely played. Like, on the average, he would have ended up with like 12 sacks. Like, He's so fast, and with the addition they did of the bigger guys in the middle, the heavier guys, Nunez Roach, Ashawn Robinson, just big bodies. You got Dexter Lawrence, who's one of the best defensive tackles in the league, right? You're going to have Leonard Williams on there anchoring one side of the line. You got Okereke now as a middle linebacker. That kid Beavers is playing better. The one that was in camp last year, Beavers was like the big surprise. He's going to be starting inside linebacker, blew out his knee or something like that. He's back. The cornerbacks, dude. You got Adoree Jackson, but the 6th round pick, Trey Hawkins, is beating out Deonte Banks and everybody else for the 2nd spot. The kid from the 6th round, from Old Dominion, he's like a 6'2", 190-pound cornerback. That's just like, he's a dog. He stays on people really. In other words, Wink wants a rush, right? We blitz. So you better be able to play man and jam your guy and can keep him contained for the first 5 to 10 yards. And this kid's like a blanket. So, man, I'm telling you, the Giants, for a Giants fan, this is going to be a good year, right? This is going to be that year like in 85 where we get beat by the Bears in the playoffs, but we're this close. Like, I know we're this close. And I hope this is the year they all progress and then we move to the next year because they've been doing good with salary cap. You know what I mean? They're going to get rid of Darnay Holmes, who's a $2 million hit for what? Like as a backup inside nickel? You don't need to pay $2 million to back up inside nickel. All right. So with the division winners, right, from the AFC, I have Cincinnati, Jacksonville, Kansas City, and we differ on the Bills and Jets. But that's basically what we have. And then the NFC, we agree on the Lions.
Well,
the
I got Miami.
You have Miami. I have the
Yeah. I got you. Yeah, we did for
NFC, we agree with the Lions. We agree with the Falcons. We agree with the Eagles as winning the divisions. In the NFC, I have the 49ers. You have the Seahawks, I believe, right?
Yep.
All right. So I did my 4 on each side, and then I did the 3 wild cards, and I'll tell you what I got. I have the Bengals. Here's the AFC playoff. There's 4 division winners, 3 wild card teams. The Bengals, the Jaguars, the Chiefs, and the Jets. Those are my division winners. I have 2 wild cards coming from the Dolphins and Bills, and then I have the 3rd wild card coming from the Chargers. So I have making the playoffs the Bengals, the Jaguars, the Chiefs, Chargers, Jets, Dolphins, Bills. I think the AFC East has 3 representatives. I think the Chiefs and Jaguars. Chiefs and Chargers make it, then the Jaguars and Bengals, right? That's what I have. NFC. NFC, Lions, Falcons, 49ers, Eagles, because of the divisions. And then the wild cards I have Giants, Cowboys, Vikings. So I have Lions, Vikings, Falcons, 49ers, Giants, Cowboys, Eagles in the playoffs. Pretty close, right?
King, I can't argue with someone who's got a Benny's hat on their head. I took 59 minutes into the show to notice that you have that, and that is a gangsta-ass hat.
Because everybody knows how cool Benny's was back in the day.
Benny's was the best.
It had everything.
Benny's was the first. Benny's was OG.
Yeah, not enough of anything, but it had everything.
Everything.
So, Matt, I'm going to give you my way too early because we're right about the hour mark. I'm going to give you my way too early Super Bowl prediction. Who do you have in the Super Bowl, if you had to say right now?
Let's go with Miami.
Yep.
And let's go with a dark horse. Let's go with who's it going to be from the NFC? Wow. Let's go Miami, Detroit.
That's not a bad one.
Wow.
That's a very talented Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I can argue that one in a weird way, but I'm going to go.
So weird.
I'm going to go more of a long shot. I'm going to go more for a what I would like to see and what could happen if it all works out the way I see it. But we may finally have a Subway Super Bowl. It might be the Jets and Giants. Look, there's a chance it could be the Jets and Giants. It's not completely out of scope that it could be the Jets and Giants. And why would that do the league well? Like, I would think that would be beneficial for sponsors and everybody else. So if Goodell could like massage that to happen, that'd be perfect. We'd take a couple of flags our way. But if I had to not give my hometown pick, I would probably go Chargers, Eagles.
Ooh.
I see that. I can see that happening because I can see the Chargers making it as a wild card, but still being a team that
I just think that the Chargers have to let go of that coach before they grow. That's what I think.
maybe,
I think that coach sucks.
but that
Yeah.
kid's really good. Herbert's that good.
Oh, Hebert's great. Hebert's
Okay.
great.
I say
And
Herbert.
they just added another weapon too. And I like Josh Palmer, but they just added somebody else.
Yeah.
So,
They're a tough team. But I'm still hoping for the Subway Super Bowl. And Matt, so we're going to be doing the Fantasy Football League for legit. A bunch of people have responded. They're back in. We got to figure out the draft night. Coach Kyle won last year, and I don't even know if he ever paid attention. It made me feel so bad about myself, like, and made me feel bad for everybody else because are we that bad? We got.
I tried so hard. My team seemed like it was so good.
Yeah, me too. I thought, I was the champ, or I knew the champ, and for the first season, and then last season it just was like crazy, bizarro world. Like there were just some games. It was like, what do you mean he had 2 touchdowns? He doesn't even play. Like what? Yeah, didn't go my way, dude. By the way, fantasy football, right, does not always go your way. The guy who claims he's got the winning team after draft night,
Yeah, never does.
Nah. It doesn't work out. That's the guy that he has. I lost my first round pick to a blown out knee. I lost this, and then really quickly, I agree. Wide receivers are way more valuable now in fantasy football than running backs. I disagree with the fact that quarterbacks are not valuable. The person that keeps telling me, I don't worry about a quarterback till the very end. Well, there's now like 3 or 4 of them that if I take one, I may win the game because they're that much better than the next bunch down fantasy wise. So I don't know what you said on that. I'm looking forward to this season and breaking it down.
Oh, I'm ready. And I will give one hot name that's a guy who's probably not even being drafted. I can't believe his name's not being talked about. With the injury to Cooper Kupp, the number 2 on that team, Van Jefferson. Yeah. How is he not being talked about? Late round gem, flyer, sleeper, could be a great flex guy, number 2 wide receiver all year long.
Yeah. So it's what I can give a quick fantasy advice is I don't believe in I personally don't believe in any system like draft running backs, draft wide receivers. Just if you can
get the best player in front of you.
If you can get like the best of that position.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about that, right? There's a big break always from the best of the position and the next. So if you're like an 8th-round pick and you can grab 2 running backs that are up there, or get yourself what's his name, the tight end from I'm blank Kelsey, right? And you grab like a quarterback like Mahomes is still there in some weird redrafts. Like, why not? Like they're gonna score so
50, 60 points a week. Just out of those 2 guys.
Yeah, it really is just take the bet and then build your team, right? And don't go too running back heavy. You know the guys that take 3 running backs, you only start 2, and they start telling you, "Oh, I always have a backup." It's like, yeah, dude, just try to fill out your team, right? On redrafts, I would think, right?
Oh yeah,
you got absolutely every position. But Matty, that's all I got. I can't wait for the Sunday mornings of waking up and drinking coffee and trying to get myself to be alive to do the show. Because we've given people such great advice, fantasy, gambling. I mean, if you look at the games that we picked and we circled, we all agreed upon, and the percentage that they came in, the fact that that's over 70%, if you just listen to those 4 or 5 games that we give you every Sunday, and you put $100 down on each game, you would have made a ton of money last season with us. That's just how it works. Mathematics, if you will. But I'm looking forward to doing it again. And I can't wait to have Brother Ray because I love bouncing ideas off Brother Ray's noggin because he'll give you that. He'll give you facts about the ball boy and where he went to school and what kind of turf he preferred. You know what I mean? And you'd be like, oh, I never even thought of that because he's got that obscure stuff. But is there anything you'd like to say before we wrap it up?
Wishing everybody a happy 2023 and let's play some football.
You know what?
Foosball.
so happy. Football season's here. Like, oh God, it's like it gives my Sunday a reason again. It also makes me now I'm either going to be happy Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or you're not going to want to talk to me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday because I'll be punching holes in the drywall. Because some of us are fans, and then some of us we take it too far. We live and die with our team, like literally live and die with the New York Football Giants. Like, God damn it! Like, God damn
I
it!
won't even talk to my team right now.
Yeah, I mean,
I won't even talk to them. I
the
put my
thing is,
wall up.
you have a Patriots team in New England that is now the coach seems to be like, I'll show you guys.
Defiant.
I'll show you.
Defiant.
And it's like, Bill, what are you going to show us now? You're like 90. Like, I think he's a great coach, Hall of Famer, obviously. But there comes a certain point where you don't let grandpa make all the grocery decisions. You got to step in, right? You got to step in. They can't draft a wide receiver, can they?
No. Never could.
No, the whole time he's been there. Well, there you go. Let's see. Block Island on August 25th through the 27th. I will be there for Block Island Ghost Tours, legit paranormal. It's a weekend. It's basically bless you, card readings, stuff like that on the beach. It's the scares, but with the beach. Like I like the beach and the bars, and that's my setting. So you can bring on everything else. You want to bring on anything else, I'll deal with it. As long as I'm at the beach and the bars. Man, I'm a beach bar kind of guy. Except when it comes to football, I want to be down in the basement with the lights out. I don't want anyone talking, and I'm going to make the dogs nervous for about a good 3 hours. Unfortunately. All right, so 4M1, Mastradamus, Mr. Never Left. It is me, Mike Leper King, Mike Gill. This was Legit Fantasy Football, brought to you by legitpodcast.com. Every Sunday at 11:05 a.m. The season is here. If you're a Giants fan, we finally maybe have an idea of a chance